Picture this, I was home alone in my bedroom with a Burger King and a Diet Coke, browsing the internet for something to watch when I saw this poster. I don't know what exactly lured me to it. It's not the best poster out there, let's be honest, but nevertheless, I was lured. And I proceeded to watch this movie while I ate, which is a mistake. Don't do that, we'll get to why later.
What? Why would you make this? People are trying to eat.
When Evil Lurks is a Spanish supernatural horror movie released in 2023 that has fascinated me and, to be honest, traumatized me a little bit since my first time seeing it. There are scenes in this movie I wish I'd never seen, so why then did I go back and watch it 3 times? Because I have issues, that's why. Don't judge me. Written and directed by Damien Raguna, who is an Argentinian film horror director and screenwriter, the movie follows the story of two brothers, Pedro and Jamie, who live in a remote farm somewhere in the middle of Argentina. The two brothers hear gunshots fired in their land in the middle of the night, and well, being the strong and handsome men they are, they decide to go investigate. I totally have a crush on Jamie. Let's just get that out there from the beginning. Not Pedro, though. We hate Pedro. The brothers would go on to discover a dead body. Well, to be exact, half of a dead body. So they, of course, proceed to go on and have a full conversation about this. Me, on the other hand, I would be in my car on the highway on my way to start my new life somewhere other than here. Nevertheless, they think it might be their neighbor Ruiz. Jamie, handsome as ever but not so bright, thinks it might have been a puma that did this, but Pedro points out that the body was dismembered with something that was obviously sharp. The brothers discover some tools and a map that leads them to the shack of their neighbor Maria, as they reach to tell her that her dinner guest would not be arriving, since, he's missing half of his body and all. She tells them that he was a cleaner who was meant to come and dispose of her son Uriel, and here where the movie has me hooked. Hook, line, and sinker. And also, this is where I lost my appetite. As the film proceeds to show us a very possessed Uriel, or as the film refers to him, as rotten. Again, seriously, just move. This is a good point to explore the universe of this movie, as I'm sure you have a lot of questions, such as, what is a cleaner? What on earth is a rotten? And why is Jamie so damn handsome? While the movie never gives us clear answers, from what I could piece together, apparently all churches are gone, demons are a thing, and when someone becomes possessed, they are called rotten, as the demon infects their body and they literally rot from the inside until they explode, birthing a demon into physical existence. Can you see now why I put down my burger? Now you can't just kill a rotten, as they will possess you if you try. You have to call in a professional, otherwise known as a cleaner, to come in and do the job for you. Moreover, if a possession is successful, it will infect the animals, humans, and effectively destroy everything around it. Alright, back to the movie now. So, Uriel isn't doing so hot. He is obviously carrying a demon baby, and things are about to go very wrong from here. Recognizing this, the brothers go to the local police and ask them for help. Much like in real life, the police are hesitant to act as they don't really believe them, and after much arguments, the police informs them that they will follow the protocols and call in public health department to investigate. Unsatisfied with the cops' answers and worried for their farm, the brothers go to their landlord, Ruiz, who appropriately freaks out when hearing about the situation. Similar to the brothers, he is worried for his land and protective over his pregnant wife. He tells the brothers that they have to move Uriel outside of their land's border, in case he reaches full term and delivers Satan. With that being the plan, they carry a very possessed Uriel into the back of their truck, where in a kind of comedic moment, they lose him. Yep, you heard me right, they lost a 500 pounds possessed Uriel, as he apparently fell out of the truck when they were distracted. And much like how I never found my one AirPod that I lost yesterday, they can't find Uriel either. Deciding to call it a day and assuming that the problem is dealt with, everyone goes home and they live happily ever after. Except they don't live happily ever after, and some of them don't live at all. Ruiz goes home to his wife, and they both notice that one goat is acting real suspicious. Not doing its usual goat thing. They decide that it's possessed, and Ruiz shoots it. Remember now, you ain't meant to kill the possessed, or else you will be possessed yourself. Which is why his wife instantly becomes possessed and hits him with an axe. She then proceeds to turn the axe on herself. I'm not really sure I can show this scene on YouTube, so I did my best to reincarnate it, recreate it, whatever. Here's my attempt at it. Alright, so disclaimer before we start. I realize I'm not an artist. I don't claim to be one, and I realize that my skills are very, very, very poor. But here we go. So we've got the goat. This is the goat. Evil possessed goat right here. We've got Ruiz holding a gun. And we've got his pregnant wife, of course. I don't know why I did that, but anyways, that's his pregnant wife. You can notice my attempt at making her pregnant. Holding the axe. Anyways, Reese would shoot the goat. Then we lose the goat, the possessed goat. Louise's wife, who I just realized I never bothered to learn her name. Anyways, she takes the axe to him and then takes the axe to herself. Thereby, everyone is dead, all of because of the goat. So yeah, that was my reenactment of the scene that happened. Anyways, back to the video now. Thank you. It's at this point that it becomes obvious that shipping the rotten Uriel to another farm was in fact a dumb idea and they should have just moved. Anyhow, after the brothers learn about the goat incident, they decide to finally listen to me and pack up and move. The brothers split up, with Pedro heading to his ex-wife's house, Sabrina, where she lives with her new husband along with Pedro's two children, Jair and Santino, and their stepsister, Vicky, while Jamie goes to collect their mother. Things get messy at Sabrina's house when Pedro and her get into a shouting match, with her not believing him about what's going on and calling him a bad husband and a bad father. While everyone is yelling at each other, the family dog who had sniffed Pedro's clothes earlier becomes obviously possessed and attacks Vicky in a scene which absolutely shocked me. I mean, I could see it coming. The dog sniffed the evil infested clothes and everything. But I was like, no, no, they can't do that. Not the sweet little Vicky. Surely not. I mean, look at her. Look at her little pajamas. Anyway, the dog drags sweet little Vicky's body outside and runs off, with Pedro and Sabrina's new husband following him. But they don't catch it. Pedro, being incredibly unfit, and Vicky not being his actual child, gives up and goes back to the house. Man, I really hate Pedro. When he returns, he is surprised to see Vicky looking cute as ever, with no scratch on her, which obviously means demon. He tries to warn everyone, but again, no one listens in this movie. Sabrina's new husband drives back to the house and runs over Sabrina, obviously becoming possessed himself after killing the family dog. Pedro, who is now realizing that he brought the evil with him and caused the death of his ex-wife, her new husband, and their daughter, counts his blessing and leaves the house with his children. Typical Pedro. While in the car, Pedro's and Jamie's mom gives us a little more information about the rotten. From what she says, it's apparent that there hasn't been a rotten scene in a long time, which is probably why everyone continues to not believe the brothers. She continues to say the rules that must be followed when dealing with them, which include to stay away from electricity and animals, not to shoot the rotten, don't take anything close to them, and never ever name evil by its name. In case you didn't notice, Pedro and Jamie broke nearly all those rules, and so things are not looking so good for the brothers. Thankfully though, Jamie knows a cleaner named Myrta, who he used to have a fling with, and the happy family heads over to her house. While on the way, they stop for ice cream. Of course, I would totally go for an ice cream in the middle of the world ending and everything. I mean, it does look like a really hot day. Here is when Pedro gets a call from his ex-wife Sabrina. Yes, that's correct, yes. The same Sabrina that we just watched get smashed into bits by a car a few minutes ago. So of course, Pedro being Pedro, he picks up and she tells him that she wants her babies back. Now, not only would I have never picked up a call coming from a very much dead Sabrina, but at this point I would have burned the phone down and sprinkled it with holy water. Can you tell that I really hate Pedro? While sleeping at Myrta's house, Sabrina of the Walking Dead shows up at the house and takes Pedro's youngest son, Santino. Now, after seeing what happened to Vicky, I had no misconceptions about what was in store for poor little Santino, but I could never imagine what would actually happen. Let's just say I was really thankful I had stopped eating. Pedro tries to catch Sabrina before she takes him, but he fails. Meanwhile, Myrta suspects that Pedro's oldest son, Jair, who is autistic, to be possessed as well, but the brothers don't believe her. Myrta goes on to explain that evil knows what the brothers fear most, and it feeds on it. In Pedro's case, it's losing his children, so she suggests that Jamie instead should go after the possessed Sabrina, while she and Pedro try to find and clean Uriel before things get even worse. Jamie drives through the street looking for the possessed corpse of Sabrina, and he finds her, carrying the dead body of little Santino and munching on his brain bits. In another scene which I cannot show you, but oh boy, when Jamie stops the car and waits for Sabrina to come closer to him, I got chills. Chills down my spine. I wish I hadn't seen that scene. It's just so shocking. Anyways, the horrified Jamie, who finally has seen what the rotten can do, runs over Sabrina with his car and ends up crashing into a tree. Thankfully though, he survives. On the other side of town, Pedro and Myrta find the OG rotten Uriel in a school, being protected by a bunch of evil children. Before heading in, Myrta says to Pedro what we've all been thinking of at this point of time. Think before you act and proceed with caution. The pair head into the school and discover the dead bodies of the children's parents. Hidden underneath all of that is Uriel, looking more fine, more rotting than ever. Uriel urges Pedro to kill him now, but Myrta reminds him that disposing of the rotten has to be done in a specific manner using a specific device, and that they have to stick together. But do we think that Pedro listened? Nope, he didn't. Getting more frustrated with Uriel's comments and urged by the children to get an axe from another room to finish off Uriel with, he goes in and leaves Myrta alone. Myrta gets taken out by the evil children, Pedro kills Uriel, and all hope is gone, with the devil being born from the corpse of Uriel. All in all, I loved this movie. The acting is amazing, the story is shocking to say the least, and the director isn't really scared to put the audience into the most hopeless situations. Furthermore, the character of Pedro, who when we first meet him has already lost his wife, as well as custody of his children, and no doubt feels tremendous amount of guilt over that, is left in an even worse situation, having caused the death of Sabrina, her husband, their daughter Vicky, his son Santino, his mother, and finally Myrta. So, in final thoughts, I love this movie, but I wouldn't recommend it to everyone as it has really some like horrible scenes. Usually you're not meant to like harm children in movies, but this movie it just really doesn't care. It's just so, oh my god, it's just so traumatizing. So yeah, watch this movie if you dare, and thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Thank you.